All right, I'm just seeing on record now.
Are we good here, or you want us up here?
It doesn't matter to me. You want me up closer to there, so you want to
Whatever's-
shout a little bit?
Yeah, that's fine.
Is that cool?
Probably makes sense.
Do you have a preference that you want us to leave the mask on or take it off?
Might as well keep it on,
Okay.
in case
Fine with
admin
me.
would ever walk in. And
Yep, no, we're good. Okay, Tyler, I assume Mr. Nelson told you about why we're here, about the interview and stuff like that, and
Yep.
explain Garrity and things like that?
No, it's gonna be read to me, never had it done before.
Okay, so I'm going to read Garrity. It's different than Miranda. We're doing this for transparency and self-incrimination, against self-incrimination. I'll have you sign it. I already read all the reports. I already reviewed all the videos and stuff like that, so I'm not going to be taking a statement or anything like that. I got some questions here relating to the complaints from Mr. Cotter and Ms. Coswell, and then we'll go from there.
Okay.
Sound fair?
Yep.
All right. So I'm just going to read it for verbatim. Statement of rights. You are hereby ordered to fully cooperate with the investigating official. Your failure to cooperate will create an objective and subjective fear of termination. You have the following rights and responsibilities during this investigation. You have the right to be informed of the allegations involved. You will be asked questions specifically directed and narrowly related to the performance of your official duties. Statements made during any interviews may be used as evidence of misconduct or as a basis for seeking discipline action against you. Any statements made by you during these interviews cannot be used against you in any subsequent criminal proceeding, nor can the fruits of any of your statements be used against you in any subsequent criminal proceeding. If you so request, a person of your choice may be present to serve as a witness during the interviews. If you refuse to answer questions relating to the performance of your official duties, you will be subject to dismissal. And just the acknowledgement. I have read and understand the above notification. Okay? So let's have you sign right there.
Are we looking at any possible criminal charges?
He's allegating some criminal charges, specifically relating to the search,
Okay.
how it was handled. So I'm just going on. When I asked him, he is for criminal. He's sexual assault regarding the pat search.
Okay.
Okay, like I said, I reviewed all the videos and stuff like that, so I just want to got some questions for you. Some of them are going to be very easy to answer. Years in law enforcement?
6.
6 years?
Yep.
Okay. All here, or is it kind of
Yep,
sporadic?
all here.
Okay. Can you describe any drug training you've had in your 6 years?
I've gone to, it's called the No Meth campaign. It was for combating the meth epidemic going on in the state of Wisconsin. Basically the tendencies of users and dealers.
Okay.
And then no specific training, but I have worked closely with numerous drug investigators and picked up a lot of stuff from them.
Okay. So bit experience, basically.
Yep, a lot of experience with it.
Regarding the No Meth campaign, like how many days or hours was that? Do you happen to remember?
That was I believe it was a 3-day, 24-hour training.
Okay. And I know I'm asking a lot here. Just an approximation. You've had 6 years at Clintonville. I know you had drug arrests. If you had to put it in a ballpark, well, how many drug arrests have you had? That would include municipal citations, misdemeanors, and felonies. I'm asking for
Probably 75 to 100.
Okay. Have you had any history with Devin Caswell?
Yes.
Okay. So can you describe that history a little bit?
Sure. So I know Devin Caswell lives at the West Morning Glory Apartments.
Okay.
We've had numerous reports and complaints from people there that smell of marijuana was coming from somewhere in the apartments. So we were tasked to do walkthroughs there numerous times. Anytime we smelled marijuana, we would try to investigate it, and I did have contact with her one time where the odor was coming from her apartment, and she was issued a citation for possession of THC and paraphernalia.
Can you just kind of describe that incident where she was issued?
Sure. Like I said, we received numerous complaints, and we were doing our walkthroughs there. That night, I located the smell of marijuana coming directly from her apartment.
Okay.
I could smell it coming to the door seams at the strongest point. At this time, Officer Krasuski went outside the apartment and was standing kind of in the entryway sidewalk area because he told me that on a previous contact they had there, they had actually had the ashes outside the window from when they were smoking marijuana cigarettes.
Okay.
So he went out there to look again, and he told me that when he was out there looking, he could see in the window, the blinds were open, he could see that there was a pipe and a baggie of marijuana right there on the table, which would have been in the living room.
Okay.
He came back inside, told me that, hey, this stuff was there. So I eventually made contact at the door. It was answered by her boyfriend. I'm kind of blanking on the name here with him.
That's fine.
And then I looked over to where Officer Krasuski said the marijuana was. It wasn't there anymore, so I said, hey, look, we know this stuff was there. Where is it? And they said, we don't have anything. I said, okay, I can apply for a search warrant. We can go that route. And then she eventually said, okay, fine, I have it. So she had it tucked in her front hoodie sweatshirt in that front little pocket there. So I didn't search her there. She handed it to me. And myself and Officer Krasuski, standard stuff like this, we basically tell them, hey, we know you got this drug citation. If you help us out, we can possibly drop this citation. Basically, what we wanted was CI work.
Okay.
Her to come and give us information, possibly do a controlled buy or two from us. And we told her, you can talk about this, but if you're going to work with us, we suggest you don't tell anybody that you had contact with us or what you're doing, just for her own protection and everything. Obviously, she doesn't want drug dealers coming back at her. And that was the end of that contact there. There was also another traffic stop where Devin was the passenger. That wasn't my stop, though. I was just a backup officer with Officer Krasuski there on that. There wasn't a whole lot that happened there. The driver of the vehicle had a bag of marijuana on her, and that was it.
Okay. So that resulted in a drug arrest as well, huh?
Yep.
Okay, so Officer Krasuski is the one that actually looked in the window and not you?
Correct.
Okay. And then you said the living room window, and I can ask officers, do you know if there was just a living room only, or could you see into a bedroom?
Just the living room only. All that apartment is laid out. It's like a big double window that goes right into the living room, and you can kind of see the kitchen and everything.
Okay.
And I've been in that apartment before. You go down the hallway, and then there's a bedroom way at the end. Obviously, you can't see that from the entryway
Okay,
there.
so if you're looking in the living room window, there's no way you can see into a bedroom?
Correct.
Okay.
And I understand the allegation is somebody walked through the snowbank and looked in the windows. I mean, if you look at the pictures, you can obviously see there's only 2 footprints right in the snowbank.
Okay.
So.
Okay, how about your history with Jason? Do you have any prior history with Jason?
I think just minor stuff. I've just known him through contacts around town. I obviously know that he did have a child with Stephanie Jones, and she's one of her main, is one of her main drug targets. That son overdosed on heroin a couple years back. So
I'm sorry, whose son?
Jason, well, son of Jason and Stephanie.
Okay.
So he overdosed a while back, and that's kind of how I knew who Jason was. And obviously just working around the department, he's kind of a big name here. Years back, he has a pretty big criminal history, so I just kind of knew who he was just based off of that reputation. As far as any sort of arrest or anything like that, no, he's been brought up in drug investigations before. suspected of pills and marijuana, and possibly still back with Stephanie and involved in meth somehow.
So you stopped the vehicle. Whatever, the stop is no good and everything else. What was your reasoning for calling the K-9?
Well, based on Quick Trip is a very hot spot for us for people buying and selling drugs, and their vehicle was there for an extended period of time, which is pretty consistent with what we see when someone makes a transaction. And then there was no plates on the vehicle. We thought it was two women, actually, Officer Kazuski said before we even stopped the vehicle.
Okay.
So we figured it might be somebody from out of town that is looking to make a transaction here. We didn't see them meet up with anybody, but so then, yeah, eventually made the stop for the plates and exhaust.
Okay.
And when I stopped him, Jason had a lot of furtive movements, like he was digging around for something. Their past history of drug use, just kind of a whole culmination of everything combined there, I felt gave us enough reasonable suspicion to hold for a K-9.
Did you recognize the occupants of the vehicle once you approached?
I did not recognize Devin until she gave me her license. When I looked down to see who else was in the passenger seat, I did recognize Jason.
Okay. Reason for removing Jason and Devin from the vehicle?
The K-9 had a positive alert on the vehicle, and based on our past practices, if the people are inside the vehicle and the K-9 has a positive alert, we search both passengers inside the vehicle as well.
Can you explain the search of Devin?
Sure. She was resistant to come out of the vehicle,
Okay.
and when I got her out, she tried going back, but I brought her back anyways. Honestly, it was a very brief, probably poor search. Could have been a lot more thorough than what it was, but obviously she was making these claims of she was assaulted, so I was trying to be as very delicate in that situation as possible. I avoided the breast area. Basically, I searched the waistline, pockets, and inner thigh, and up around the breast, or not really the breastbone area, but the under rib area. I believe I checked the hood and her hair. And when I searched her inner thigh, I went up, it was actually probably 3-4 inches away from her vagina area before I stopped.
She make any statements or allegations of sexual assault when you searched her?
Towards me?
Towards you?
No, she did not.
Can you explain the search of Jason?
Sure. Again, he was resistant to come out of the vehicle, which is kind of another big sign for us, but removed him from the vehicle and started a search on him. He had a chain with like a lighter and maybe some keys or something on it that I removed first. And then I just did kind of the same search of him, kind of how I have just kind of a pattern I do, start at the top, work my way down. So did the shoulder area, down the chest, down the sides, pockets, down the pant legs, and then back up the inner pants or the inner thigh area. Did not get, again, up to his genital area. And then you finish with a belt search and then down to the shoes.
So you didn't basically search his groin area?
I did not search his groin area. However, searching his belt area, I usually reach around with my right arm and start searching from their left hip underneath the belt to check for any pockets or hiding areas. And then we also had reports that people are hollowing out the zipper area of their pants to be able to hide stuff inside there.
Okay.
So I was conscious of that too as I was searching him. However, as I got around to the belt buckle area, I reached under the belt buckle to see if it had anything shoved in there. I felt something which it was tucked like underneath his belt buckle.
Okay.
And then it was just a rounded shape, and once I identified it as probably his penis, I pulled away immediately and then continued my search.
Okay. Did you ever touch Jason's buttocks area with a gloved finger?
His buttocks area, no. I touched around the belt area, again, searching underneath the belt for
All right.
anything hidden.
Would that include the rear of the belt, or?
Yep, I searched around the entire belt area.
Sure. Okay. But never like went into like the
No,
back
not
of
underneath
his
his pants or
bladder
anything.
like that?
No.
Okay. During the search of the vehicle, the trunk wasn't searched. What was the reason behind that?
Well, the canine alerted on the driver's side door of the vehicle. This was kind of a situation where we kind of knew who it was, and based on training experiences, usually it's not hidden in the trunk, and we were getting such, it was becoming a rough search with causing the issues there that we kind of foregone the trunk, basically same reason why we didn't pull door panels off and stuff like that. It just didn't feel it was necessary in that search.
Okay. So in the report, don't have to pay attention to the yellow highlighted area, just the pink highlighted areas. Inside the center console of the vehicle.
Yep.
That's where you're talking about the shake.
Yep.
And then, I really like these forms, by the way. I think we're going to start using them. So I imagine you filled this form out, correct?
It was a phone call with After Hours Department of Corrections.
Okay.
And I knew exactly where you were going with this.
Yep.
We had a very, very hard time communicating over the phone.
Okay.
I think she was, I don't want to say she was new, but we had a very hard time communicating. We were repeating each other a lot.
Okay.
And I can't say for sure how she got it mixed up, but I told her that Jason was in the passenger seat and we found marijuana shake in the center console. I'm guessing that the inner center console part may have
Okay.
cut out or something. But like I said, I had to repeat myself numerous times to her.
So was it almost like talking on a cell phone where the reception is bad? Is
Yep, I was on the cell phone. I called immediately.
you were on the cell phone, okay.
Yep, I called immediately after while Jason was still with Officer Kazuski refusing to leave,
Yep.
because obviously he was making this difficult that I wanted to just reach out to After Hours DOC just to see if they want anything done with it.
So you advised the DOC that it was inside the center console of the vehicle?
Yep.
Okay. In your in your years of experience in dealing with people, have you ever stopped people with shake inside their vehicle?
Oh, yeah, numerous times.
Okay, I figured. Ever like say, hey, I'm going to remove that shake from the vehicle, or do you usually tell them, hey, they're shaking in your vehicle, you need to remove it?
I usually tell them they're shaking the vehicle, I'm not cleaning service.
Have you ever been disciplined? Meaning suspended or anything
No.
like that? No. Okay, that's the only questions I have. Is there anything else you want to add or anything else that I should know that I missed or?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Any questions? Alright, I'm gonna end this. Let me just make sure it's ended because it's kind of, display is really messed up. Do you guys have these?
We do not. We had our own officer supplied body
Okay.
cameras. I had a movie, but after this incident, Chief said we're not going to have those until it's a department-wide policy to have them.
The thing about these is that these are the old ones, and the display is super difficult to see. So I'm gonna make